So I want to take just a minute because I think the history of online online education in general and executive online education is a very checkered one. So if I go all the way back in the history of like online education, at first it was going to be radio, that took over education, right, back in the day. And then after radio kind of didn't live up to that promise, then it was television. Television's going to wipe out, education as we know it. And of course, that didn't happen. And then when the internet came along, it was going to be the internet. The internet's going to make, conventional education obsolete. And we had, do you remember Fathom?
Yes.
Like a multi-million-dollar education startup where the Ivy League kind of wrote off like all the tuition money they made for about 5 years. And then we had MOOCs, right? And MOOCs were going to completely demolish. And so I think what's interesting to me about that is it takes time. It takes time before any new technology or any new invention gets figured out, right? That, I think about when movies were first created, right? Nobody knew what a movie was. And so what did they do? They filmed stage plays. And the use case was, we're going to be able to democratize the world for stage plays and you'll be able to watch them anyway. And it took decades before we figured out, hang on, if it's a movie, like you could film things out of sequence and then repackage them and all these other insights that led us to now what movies are. And I have to say, I think we're just, and ExecOnline's a leader in this, we're just coming to realize what it actually takes, A, to do this well in a way that's really compelling, but B, to actually get the outcomes that you want. And as you and I have talked about, it's not the tech, right?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And I think that's whether it's radio, whether it's TV, whether it's online, you can't lose sight of how people learn. And learning science is absolutely critical to building any successful set of learning experiences, whether in the classroom, whether they're on radio, or whether they're online. And so for us, what we were excited about was leveraging this medium to really bring a fresh approach to learning to leaders and organizations. And in particular, what we saw as the opportunity, I think at that time, a lot of people were focused on the downsides. It's not as engaging. You're not, next to your peers in a classroom. You don't have that energy. But there was one big opportunity that we saw, which was that online provided a medium to actually help people learn as they worked. And that, if you look at any learning science, if you can apply as you learn consistently, you can achieve differentiated outcomes. And so our entire focus, because our mission was really about driving different in kind leadership equity in organizations. And we saw learning as the great enabler. If organizations could democratize access to learning, then you could create much more mobility in these organizations, create much more equity at senior levels. Well, in order for that to be true, the learning has to work. And so for us, it was about how do we take this nugget of applied learning, build it into everything we do, and not just create online content, but create online learning experiences that change leader mindsets and behaviors and gave them confidence as they were learning that they could actually apply what they were learning to their real world challenges.